about to talk about clear as universal understanding about shit. Okay. All right, y'all. Now, so what's the purpose of anything, right? The purpose of anything is to have one thing, have another, bring them together, and it's always something that comes out of it. I think we can all agree that this is just how life works, right? And we can all agree that things accumulate from a start to something, right? We can start and then everybody else comes in and fulfills that start position to be gone upon, right? So, from here, we got a ground basis, right? Got points. From here, we know that, okay, for there to be a light, there has to be somewhere the light came from. Because a light has to be shine, right? When you flash a light, what was it before that? It was dark, and then you flash the light. So, knowing this, then you should just know these are just attributes that we all have. So we all have the ability to have a darkness, and we all have the ability to find our light in things. But how can we understand this in a way where we can understand it for ourselves, right? So if we know that you shed light on the dark, then if we understand it for ourselves, then we can just know, okay, anytime you ignore something that you know um, you needed to pretty much acknowledge, that is something that's in the dark, because we can see right now if you're looking in a certain direction, and that means the other place you're looking ain't got no awareness right now, no light, because the light is what you're viewing. Like, you put out light, but you receive light as far as this body. But so we put out light. When you come back and you start to pretty much come to a point that you want to explore your nature inside of you and put attention to what you've been ignoring, putting off, that's what is called to shedding light on the darkness. So if we understand this, then we need to know that, so we're not no light and we're not no dark. We are one, as in the viewer, like me and you, bring these two attributes that we all have together to maneuver and be as balanced, as equilibrium, as angelic, or as light as possible, the true light. As in, we know that light can be a spectrum, but this actual light, what we can see, comes from something. Like I told you, the flashlight is dark and then it turns light. So we know the sun comes from something. So the light is just accumulation of a whole bunch of lighter forms. Forms we can't see, but their forms are there. You can't see your mind, but you know your mind is there. We can't see feelings, but we know feelings are there. Okay? Just because of these certain words I'm using, okay, we all know this in ourselves. It just is. So we should start having better terminology and start tying things to ourselves. Okay, so we're the light. No, we're not the light. We're the dark, or we're the feminine, or love, all love. No, you're not just receiving. You're not just darkness. You're not just taking in. You're not just honing in. You're about putting out things too. You don't believe me? Don't you put out a thought? Don't you put out communication? And don't you put out imagination? Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, so so um tying things to internal nature is a better gateway into accumulating better thought processes of what's going on with real life and not having to try to figure out a mystery. Because we all know a mystery is just my story. Uh, and we know history is his story. So, it's all one and the same. Mysticism is my story that I put criticism on. So I put this story that I came up with, mystery, then I put some type of more I tried to make it work better in different angles, different ways of going about this one thing. Like we all have different ways about going about one thing, and then you accumulate. So we all have internal natures that we can do in ourselves, and this is how the world we see with only the greatest conscience we all can agree with is human. So all these things are man-made. Please do not get confused with with nature, because you need to know nature is just what you come from. You come from animal-like things. You don't believe me? Then why do you still want to fuck? And why do you still want to eat mindlessly? And why do you still have urges? Because you still an animal. You just got this mind, because this is the biggest you can get. So what's the point of even thinking about animals? If anything, you just need to think about animals like what they are. They act in those ways. Spiritually, we are like that. We come from that. We come from the nature of not interpreting anything and just going with the flow, because that's all they do. But sometimes they're too beastly and just let shit happen, and they end up killing each other. So, but that's it. Because when y'all start talking about things as if they relate to it as a spirituality, it doesn't go anywhere besides you start making up things in your mind. Oh yeah, like the grass, the sun, it does this to my body. What it's just like, the only thing you can figure out it does to your body is what somebody told you. Because, you know what I'm saying, you can't be living outside yourself and then bring the outside to the inside. How you gonna bring darkness inside of darkness? How you gonna bring light into dark? How you gonna bring light into light? Like, as in, me and you are both something that can wield light and dark. So why do you need me to see me to know yourself? Essentially, you don't need to look at something to know yourself. You don't need to access some information that you can't see, but it's there to know yourself. No, you need to already have your natures, and if anything, be reminded of, oh, okay, this is my piece of the puzzle, and I played this part out from my two eyes, and this is how I relate to the people around me. And that's just life. So take a little more heed to your thought processes and your damn your feelings, and the things that you're not consciously, you're not actually noticing, but if they're there, as in you're turning a blind eye to your own subconscious. You're turning a blind eye to what you have created, the worlds you've created from experiences. You're turning the eye, thinking that you're ignoring it, or thinking it's going away, when really the shadow is. This is why we got shadows, because you always leaving something behind, and that you need to pay attention to, and know that you need to burn that way of moving, because it's a move, because it's a reason, because it's not something we can see. It's just, you need to diminish it from this is why we got the left brain. Now we can interpret what we was once feeling. So now we can bring them together to be like, okay, that is what it is. And if I don't need it, let me let it go. And if I do need it, let me hold on to it, but moderate it. You understand? I'm reminding you. Are you remembering? Are you remembering now? Remember what you did? Because I remember what I did. Always remember. Always remember.